Hey everyone, it's Johnny from Hot Take Hockey back with another video. And today's video is going to be on Alex Pietrangelo and 5 potential landing spots for him in free agency. So if you are here, please subscribe, smash that like button, and leave your thoughts in the comment section below. So for Pietrangelo, along with the other big free agents like Taylor Hall, Braden Holtby, they're going to get a lot of interest. And for Pietrangelo, right shot defenseman, we see the offensive numbers he puts up, captain of the St. Louis Blues, coming off a Stanley Cup championship. So there's a lot of great characteristics around Pietrangelo, and a lot of teams are going to show interest. But I'm going to narrow it down to 5 potential landing spots, starting with the St. Louis Blues. So I think there's a very realistic opportunity where he returns to the Blues, and I think for both sides it's an ideal scenario, but it's going to come down to term and money. And for Pietrangelo, if I'm looking at Erik Karlsson, he's going to probably want around the same, $11 million and at a max 8-year term. And I do think it's most likely that he returns to the St. Louis Blues, but are the Blues going to ask for a pay cut? Could that offend Pietrangelo? What's going to go down? I think there hasn't been any evidence to show that either side wants to move on, so I think the most realistic outcome is Pietrangelo returning to the Blues. But I do think other teams might tempt Pietrangelo to move on if that money and term is higher than what the Blues want, and if the scenario looks better to Pietrangelo. So I'm going to move on from the Blues and talk about the Calgary Flames. So if I'm looking at the Calgary Flames, you've got a lot of pending UFAs, whether it's Travis Hamonic, TJ Brodie, Forbort, Eric Gustafsson, who just acquired before the deadline, and Stone. So that's a lot of defensemen potentially moving on. And obviously you got Giordano in that top 4 who's getting older, and you've got Hanifin who's gone through his struggles. There's definitely a fit, and there's definitely a fit on that right side. So Pietrangelo could be a fit for the Calgary Flames. Do they have to move on from other guys? Well, that's up front. And if you're talking about up front, there was rumors around Gaudreau. I wouldn't take those too seriously, but maybe on a more realistic sense, Sam Bennett maybe moving on. Are those rumors true about Backlund? I know at some point they were like, okay, Backlund's getting into his younger 30s. Do we move on from him at an over $5 million cap hit? So that would be interesting, but I think we'll see with the Calgary Flames. But I do think they're one of those teams that will have some heavy interest in Pietrangelo in the open market. And I think that moves towards a different Canadian team, which is the Toronto Maple Leafs. A lot of people have gotten excited over that opportunity. And I mean, at one point it was the Stamkos situation. He returned to the Lightning, and then the Johnny Tavares, and he signed with the Leafs. Honestly, I think this is more Stamkos-esque. I think Pietrangelo would see more of a fit in returning with the St. Louis Blues. There was obviously the rumors of Stamkos staying in Tampa because there was just so much hype and just so much concern around the media and all of that, and maybe it scared him off a little bit. But with Pietrangelo, I do think there's a possibility. Like, I think there's a scenario where he maybe considers it, considering, I mean, he played minor hockey with Tavares. It would be going back home, and the Leafs do have that big fit. It's like their only need at this point for a lot of people is that right shot defenseman, that big right shot defenseman that can hold his own. And I mean, the Tyson Barrie experiment just really hasn't worked out. And I mean, in the scenario of Pietrangelo going to Toronto, I mean, you would have to trade a couple players, I would say at least. I mean, when you're talking about Kerfoot, Kapanen, and Johnsson, that's like a combined like $10 million approximately. And I mean, maybe all 3 move on. And then there's no way you re-sign Tyson Barrie in that scenario. So maybe the Leafs. So right now we're at the Blues, Flames, Leafs, and then the final 2 teams, the Winnipeg Jets and the Vegas Golden Knights. So I think for the Jets, they just really don't have any defensemen. I mean, Pionk had a great year. Morrissey had that injury issue, but he was good as well. Outside of that, I don't know. So I think Pietrangelo could be a great fit for the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, if you're looking at their forward group and how great Hellebuck's been, Pietrangelo could see potential in the Winnipeg Jets. The Vegas Golden Knights, they would have to create cap space. I mean, the Vegas Golden Knights have been looking for a top defenseman for a while. So, I mean, if you're talking about Pacioretty, career year, Mark Stone's been great, William Karlsson, Marchessault, Riley Smith, they've been great. So, I mean, Alex Tuch, injury issues, do you move on from him? But either way, they would have to create cap space to bring in a guy like Pietrangelo. Do they trade a defenseman or 2? So those are my 5 teams. Those are my top 5 landing spots for Pietrangelo. The Vegas Golden Knights, Winnipeg Jets, Toronto Maple Leafs, Calgary Flames, and for me, the most realistic, the St. Louis Blues, a return to the Blues to finish the career of Alex Pietrangelo in St. Louis. I think that is ideal for him. Other teams, I mean, if we're talking about hot takes, like, it would be teams that are just so, like, inconsistent, or just teams that have struggled. New Jersey Devils, Buffalo Sabres, like, I know they would love a guy like Pietrangelo. The Red Wings, of course. So it's out there. I thought about the Colorado Avalanche as maybe being an opportunity there. I think they're going to go after Taylor Hall in free agency. Depends how their, playoffs go. If we get playoffs, I don't know. But I see the Avalanche being aggressive in free agency, that's for sure. They want to move forward and be successful in the playoffs. But my top 5 are the top 5 that I said, and I think overall Pietrangelo is going to look to return to the St. Louis Blues, but I think overall there's always that chance that a big free agent moves on. So those are my top 5. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Please do subscribe if you're new. Smash that like button and stay safe, everyone. This was John from Hot Take Hockey. Have a good one. Peace out.